Britain could join America in bringing military action against the Assad government in Syria. Now, that's according to the latest statement by UK Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson. He says it will be hard to say no if Washington requests support for its strikes in Syria.
And as I said, we were not asked for specific support, but it is my belief, although I stress no such decision has yet been taken, it is my belief that were such a request to be made in future, were it to be a reasonable request in pursuit of similar objectives, then I think it would be very difficult for the United Kingdom to say no.
The Foreign Secretary's comments seem to indicate a departure from the UK's previous policy on Syria in 2013. Parliament voted against military intervention in the country, crushing former Prime Minister David Cameron's ambitions. And now there's growing concern among the British public that lawmakers will once again be asked to approve military involvement. Issa Ali is across the story for us from London.
Quite a stunning statement from the UK's Foreign Secretary, Boris Johnson, stating that should the US ask for the UK's assistance in bombing Syrian government forces in the future, that it would be difficult to say no. Mr. Johnson also expressed his full support for those US airstrikes, saying that they sent an emphatic message to the Syrian government and to President Assad, what he described as President Assad's so-called barbarism. And he also went on to say that those strikes could possibly lead to a political solution. A very mafia-esque way, perhaps, of trying to seek a political solution. We'll bomb you, and then we'll bring you to the negotiating table. Mr. Johnson also called for Russia to end what he called its blind support for the Syrian government. But it's interesting that over the weekend, there was that devastating attack on civilians, which saw dozens of children brutally killed. We saw those images, very shocking scenes over the weekend, and yet no condemnation from the British government or the American government of the perpetrators of that attack, thought to be those extremist rebel groups. So leading many to ask why the double standard by the British government. This isn't the first time that the UK have supported US military action. We saw that in Libya and more notoriously in Iraq. But with regards to Syria, just a few years ago, the Conservative coalition government tried to pass that vote to bomb Syrian government forces, and that was rejected by Parliament. And yet Mr. Johnson suggesting that he may approve such airstrikes without the approval of Parliament. And of course, we have elections coming up in the UK, and the Houses of Lords and Commons are due to be dissolved, so there may be no one for the government to ask approval from anyway.